Hello. In this video, you're going to learn how to hold the bow. And you'll need two props. You'll need your bow and a pencil. And for now, just lay them close by. If you're sitting down, make sure that you're on the edge of your chair so that your back can stay straight, that your knees can stay out of the way. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about the right arm and the right hand in regards to holding the bow. So do this with me. Drop your right arm and dangle it to your side. Move and shake everything so it's relaxed from your shoulder to your fingertips. Okay, now bend your arm at the elbow. Don't lift the shoulder, and let your wrist and fingers hang. And notice how the middle two fingers, fingers 2 and 3, naturally hang closer together, and that the index finger and the fourth finger, which is the pinky, are positioned slightly apart from the middle two. Now basically, this is how your bow hold is going to look. Okay, this is the same spacing our fingers will assume when they're laying on the stick. Okay, so the bow hold really is very natural to the way the hand looks anyway. Okay, now turn your hand over, keeping your fingers relaxed. Now notice how the fingers automatically bend, including the thumb. Okay, this is very obvious, but such an important concept to always keep in mind. When the hand is relaxed, the fingers naturally bend. For demonstration, I want you to focus on one of your fingers. In this case, I'm going to focus on my third finger and straighten it. Okay, now as you straighten it, can you tell what's happening to your hand? You can feel the other fingers wanting to straighten too. Okay, this is another important concept to always keep in mind. When tension creeps into one part of the body, in this case our third finger, that tension will spread to other parts, even across the midline. If you get a tension in one hand, it'll spread to the other hand. If your shoulder is tight and stiff, it will transfer tension to your hand or to your wrist. So the key to getting rid of tension, wherever it manifests, is to create the habit of awareness. That's very important, so I'll say it again. The key to getting rid of tension is to create the habit of awareness. Okay, so let's be proactive and expunge the tension from the hand now. Shake the fingers and let them go limp. Okay, now look at your thumb. Now from your perspective, from the thumb owner's perspective, you have the right side and the left side. So our next step is to place the very tip of the right side of the thumb, specifically the inside edge, and we're going to make contact right in between the two lines, the two knuckle lines of the middle finger. All right, let's not get bogged down in directional terms, but here's the first line, here's the second line. So this right in between, okay, we're going to touch the tip of the thumb right there. Okay, now look at your hand and notice that a circle is formed between the thumb and fingers. Okay, now move your thumb back and forth from the base joint. Okay, bring it in close to the hand and open away from the hand. Now keep it like this. We really want to maintain the open circle when we're playing. Remember, the thumb is slightly bent, okay, not too bent, nor pushed inward like this. So if the bend is slight, then it means the thumb is flexible and will be able to make minute movements. Okay, otherwise it'll become locked, which, as we've already established, that means tension, and tension is bad. Okay, now we're going to take your pencil and slip it in between the thumb and the middle finger. Okay, nothing changes. The pencil touches those exact same contact points, the tip of the thumb at one point and in between those two knuckle lines, the other point. Okay, and now the ring finger rests next to the middle finger. The pinky perches right on top of the stick. Okay, it does not hang over, but it is right on top. And lastly, the first finger rests a little on its side, right at this middle knuckle line. Okay, now let's check the thumb again, and in order to check its flexibility status, just wiggle it. Okay, and if you can wiggle it, it's flexible. If you can't, then the knuckle's locked. Okay, we need to make sure that it stays just slightly bent. Now let your arm rest to your side. Now I want you to lift your elbow just slightly away from the body. Okay, when you do this, the wrist will rotate slightly in towards the center of your body. Okay, now this is the bow hold, just with a pencil. Okay, now I want to encourage you, every time you pick up a pencil or a pen at work, in class, paying bills, make a bow hold. Okay, because a good relaxed bow hold is definitely something that needs to be indoctrinated. And the more often you do it, the quicker you'll reach the point of automation. And automation is what we want to achieve. Okay? Now let's actually make the bow hold with the bow. Okay? So take your bow, hold it with your left hand in the middle. Okay? Make sure that the frog is in front of your right hand. Okay, again, make that circle. Okay, fingers curved. I hope no one out there has straight fingers. Okay, open the circle a little and imagine your thumb is a little hook. Okay, and slip the bow in and hang it on the thumb. Now there's a little space or gap in between the wrapping and the frog. Okay, this is where the thumb is placed. So with the tip of the thumb, that inside edge, place it as if you're going to try and wriggle it into that space. And the other side of your thumb, the left side, will be wedged against the edge of the frog. Okay? Now this little indention here on the frog looks like a little nest or a slot for the thumb, but it isn't. So don't try to insert your thumb in there. Okay? So find that space, make a little hook with your thumb. Now let's drape the two middle fingers over the thumb. Okay, now watch out that the fingers don't scoot away from the thumb. They're right over top. Remember that original contact point when we made the circle. Okay, now the pinky sits on top. And it might look as though the pinky would sit on top of the screw, but it doesn't, unless your hand is gargantuan. But the best place to find the place for the pinky is to just tap. Okay, and where it lands is where it goes. Now the first finger is positioned slightly away from the middle two fingers and touches the stick at that middle knuckle line. Okay, and it curves over, but it doesn't grab. Okay, some students tend to want to wrap the first finger around the stick like this, but this just creates an improper balance of the hand and will change the positions of the other fingers. Okay, worst of all, causing the pinky to straighten. And of course, as soon as that pinky straightens, the tension is there to stay. Okay, there's one more point to mention. It's very common when you're just beginning to play that the thumb will want to start to straighten. And when it does that, it might push through to the other side. Okay, and if this happens, then you lose all security when holding the bow. So try to stay aware and make sure that it keeps bent and that the tip is really the only thing that is in contact with the stick. Okay, and the last 2 points, the level of the base knuckles. Okay, the base knuckles need to sit low. Okay, when they're low, the fingers and thumb are more relaxed and curved. And if they're high, then there's a tendency for these fingers to straighten out and for the pinky knuckle to become locked. Okay, and lastly, notice the level of my wrist. It's on the same horizontal plane as my fingers. Okay, it's not this or this. Now, true as you learn to make bow strokes, the level of the wrist will change, but in the middle of the bow, in a position just like this, okay, the wrist and knuckles will be more or less in line with each other. Now, I'm going to demonstrate the bow hold in one fluid motion, and then I want you to do it about 12 or 15 times today, okay? So making sure that my hand is heavy with relaxed weight, okay? I seek out the little gap in between the wrapping and the frog with my thumb. My two fingers hang over top, middle fingers. My pinky rests on top. My first finger touches the stick at the middle knuckle line. Okay, now check the circle. Make sure it's still open and not like that. Okay, and the last step, pat yourself on the back. Okay, that was a lot of detailed but very important information. Now in the next video, I'll show you some bow hold exercises that will help you develop control and flexibility in the right hand.